What's up, guys? Welcome to the Peer Review Podcast. My name is Caleb Davis, and today I'm going to give my takeaways from the Nuggets vs. Thunder Game 7 debacle. That was an absolute slaughter put on at the hands of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they deserve to move on. Before we dive in, though, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And also follow me on X at CalebCD and on TikTok at Peer Review Podcast to stay up to date with the channel. Now, today I'm just going to quickly go through my takeaways from both sides. I thought this game was. I expected better. I'm going to be honest. I thought the Nuggets were going to come out with a little more fight, and they did. They came out in the first quarter, and it kind of felt like, oh, wait, this might be too much for the Thunder. They might not be ready. They quickly changed that narrative after they went down about 10 or 12, and then they instantly fought back. And then from there, it kind of just felt like the game was over, especially as you ended out that stretch in the second quarter when the Thunder kind of went up. Were they up 14 or 12? Once they started to pull away, it kind of just felt like the game was over. But I want to start with the Denver Nuggets because I feel like this was a horrible game for them. I had 4 key takeaways kind of on their front as to why this game went the way it did. And just to start off, I thought the first big glaring issue for them was their just sloppy execution. The Nuggets had way too many turnovers, and a lot of them were unforced or just bad reads overall. And it was kind of surprising because they were in the game for a good portion of it, even with all the turnovers that they had. Like at one point, it was like 8-1 in turnovers, and the Nuggets were still up 2. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, there is no way. Like, they're lucky to even, like, they should be getting blown out right now. Like, there's no way they're even still in this game. Like, it's a miracle. And sitting there, me and my dad are watching the game together, and he's saying like, "Oh, they're being sloppy," and you can just tell. And I also thought like those 22 turnovers, like that was just the big turning point in the game. They led to 27 fast break points for the Thunder, and the fast break points and the margins were just so different. Like the Thunder were turning them over, getting out in transition, and the Nuggets were not. And that was kind of the story of the game. I thought a big part of that stretch when the Thunder kind of went on that big run, the Nuggets, I'm gonna blame coaching, and then I thought Westbrook was pretty bad at the beginning portions of the game. Like when the Nuggets had their lead and things were going well, Westbrook checks in, he gets 2 quick turnovers on just bad plays, forces a turn. It's a pass to Jokic, ends in a turnover. He had another play where he just like threw it off someone's face. Like it's just like, what are you doing? And then it was frustrating me with him. Like you'd come back after he turn it over, and then he just not box out. Boom, Thunder get an offensive rebound, or someone gets a putback dunk, or someone drives in and gets a foul, and that stuff started to accumulate. And like, yeah, you're like, okay, it's okay, you miss a box out here and there, but when those mistakes start to compound themselves, that's when you see the Thunder go on a big run like that, and you kind of blow the game open. And then once you're confident in your home arena in a game 7, like your fans are cheering, it's loud, the environment's there, like it's kind of over from there. And that's literally what happened. I also think there was some questionable coaching decisions. David Adelman decided to bench Jokic and Jamal Murray in a game 7. Like I don't think you should ever be sitting both of them in general with the makeup of that roster, but especially in a game 7, like that's just egregious in my opinion. And you saw as soon as he took them out, the Thunder went on like an 11-0 run, like within like 2 minutes. And from there, that's just, I don't know what you attribute that to. I don't really understand what he was thinking there, but that was a big that cost that almost I kind of think that's what cost you the game, because you stagger their minutes a little better. Maybe that 11-0 run is a 7-0 run or a 5-0 run. Like it's not as bad, and it just kind of it was like a gut punch. And like again, it's hard to recover from stuff like that. You don't want to give the home team momentum like that, and you're just putting yourself at a disadvantage. Like Aaron Gordon's already hurt. You're trying to run him as a small ball 5 without. I didn't really understand the thinking there, but I'm not the coach. I also thought there was just a lack of physicality on the Nuggets front. Like the Nuggets struggled to match the Thunder. Like the Thunder looked more athletic, they looked younger, they looked faster. Like you could see the Nuggets were getting frustrated, like they weren't getting calls, and I thought the refs did let a lot go on both ends, but the Nuggets didn't respond with physicality. Like if they're letting them beat up on you, like I just felt like they were just kind of like allowing it, and kind of felt like they were surprised a little bit with like the level of contact. Like there was a bunch of plays where like Jokic would get the ball stripped, like poked away, and he's trying to flop, and the Thunder are going down the other way because you didn't get the call. And it's like stuff like that. It's game 7. Like you gotta lock in. All that complaining to the refs, like in the moment, you gotta focus. And it was like back to back to back. And it just felt like the turnovers would come in like avalanches. Like it'd be like 3-4 turnovers in a row. Boom, transition dunk, transition layup. Like you come back, foul. Like again, those mistakes starting to compound. And that's when the Thunder start to blow the game out of the arena. And then the last big thing for the Nuggets was everyone outside of like I don't even think Jokic was good in this game, but everyone outside of like Christian Brown was pretty bad in this game. Like MPJ, he's been terrible for the past few games. A lot of his threes, like, and I don't know if it's directly related to the injury. Like I'm sure that plays a part, but like a lot of his shots like weren't even close. Like they'd be like far left or far right or barely graze the rim. Like nothing looked good. He didn't look confident, like rising into his shots. Like it just that's a big bummer when your best shooter is not hitting for the past like 3 games. And then Jamal Murray, he didn't have it going tonight. Like he had a couple shots, but the game was already out of reach. And then the bench provided virtually nothing up until garbage time. And that just allows the Thunder to shrink the floor even more on Jokic, to double him, to trap him, and doesn't leave you a lot of outlets. And I'm going to get to this when I talk about the Thunder, but they were just doing a good job leaving the right guys open. The Nuggets went 10 for 45 from 3, and that's just not going to get it done. They were shooting in the 20s, and just a rough overall game for them. They're definitely going to have to tweak their roster a bit heading into this offseason. I don't know what they do, what moves they're going to make, but they definitely have some changes headed their way. And before I move on to the Thunder, I want to give props to Aaron Gordon for just grinding through this game. Like he had that grade 2 hamstring injury. It's not easy playing through that. I'm sure he wasn't advised to do that, but he showed up and he still made an impact. Like 8 points, 11 rebounds. He was doing a good job using because yes, he's a freak athlete, but he still has size. He's a huge dude. Like he has his size, his strength, and he can still leverage that. And you saw he was using like positioning, and instead of using his vertical ability to get rebounds, he's just stealing you and just going up and grabbing it because he's bigger and stronger than you. You can't knock him off his base, and that's what he was doing. And I also thought it was interesting. I kind of noticed this throughout the game too, and I think it was a smart adjustment on his part. And if you've ever been injured, like you understand it. But his left leg, like Richard Jefferson was saying, like he jumps off his left leg normally, but that's the leg that the hamstring injury was occurring on. So instead, like he had a drive where he took off his right leg and things like that. Like that takes skill, that takes coordination, attention to detail. But you saw that a lot. Like a lot of his jumps are more ground bound. Like he was just doing a lot. And I just give him props for finding a way to still try and go out there and affect the game. And he did what he could. And he gave them a lot of those offensive rebounds. Like he was trying. He was out there hooping, and I can't knock him for that. But onto the Thunder. Their defense is just at an insane level. They have like every single guard on that roster can guard. They all can pressure the ball. They have rim protection. They have everything. Like they have wings. They might not be the biggest, most physical team, but they're fast. They can move around. They get so many deflections, and I won't say they are pretty physical, especially the guards. Like you think guys like Dort, Casey Wallace, like Shea will get in you at times, like J-Dub, like just across the board. Alex Caruso, like how could I forget? Just they got a bunch of dogs. Like I don't know what else to say, but I just think they did a great job disrupting Jokic, especially like on entry passes. There were so many times where you try and throw him the ball, they're holding him, he can't get to the pass, or you throw him a pass, it gets poked from behind, or as soon as he catches it, he gets ripped, knocking him off his spot, like not even allowing him to catch. And I said before, just daring the right people to shoot. Like Peyton Watson, they were leaving him wide open, telling him make the shot. Even Christian Braun at the beginning of the game, but he was hitting, and props to him. He was like the only guy out there that looked confident and kind of capable in this game. But I think Alex Caruso was the star of this game for the Thunder with his defense on Jokic. Jokic is what, 6'11"? Caruso's about 6'4", 6'5" on a good day. And he was doing a hell of a job just frustrating him, knocking him in the post. And just the whole game, just putting his body into him, catching the elbows. Like, that's not an easy job. Jokic is a huge dude. I know he's going to be hurting in the morning, Caruso. But he just made it tough on Jokic. You could tell he was frustrating him. And even when he was picking up fouls, like they weren't unnecessary fouls. Like he ended up getting into a little bit of foul trouble, but like it wasn't. They were necessary fouls. Like you're not mad at him for that. He just did his job, and he's a vet. I've loved Caruso since he was on that championship team with the Lakers, and I know the type of player he is. He's been in some shaky situations with the Bull, not in a winning context, but being on a team that's in the playoffs and a deep playoff run, you see how valuable he is as a role player and just as a vet in the locker room. That championship DNA, all of that kind of plays in. And you saw that on full display tonight. Like he hit threes when he needed to, and this wasn't his first like big game like this where he's contributed like on the margins, but to come out and do this in a game 7, it's impressive. Now, I thought the Thunder also just did a lot with their transition offense and just getting downhill. They were doing a good job. Aaron Gordon is typically, he serves at the Nuggets rim protector, and if he, like you could tell, he didn't want to jump. He couldn't explode how he could, so they were attacking him. They were going at the rim, trying to go at Jokic, because if they have no rim protector out there, their defense kind of it fall. Like without Aaron Gordon, he's so pivotal on like to their offense on both sides of the ball, and just him being hampered, I think completely changed the dynamic of this game. They were doing a good job getting downhill, getting to the paint, getting the Nuggets in rotation, and also just running the break and capitalizing off those mistakes. Like I mentioned earlier, they had 27 points off those 22 turnovers. Like just setting the tone. And I can't say enough. Like the Thunder looked insane this game. And then also just smart off-ball movement. I thought Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein, like especially like Chet goes, cutting. They usually have their bigs sitting like the dunker spot, corner to corner, baseline to baseline. They were just getting so many putbacks off crashing off the corner or just getting lobs. Like Chet got a couple lobs, Hartenstein got a couple lobs. Just Chet relocate to the corner. Pump fake, drive, get everybody in rotation. Just a lot of great plays from them, and the ball was on a string tonight, and they looked great. Like the Thunder looked great tonight, and that should give them so much confidence heading into this series against the Timberwolves. But before I wrap up with this series, I want to give a major shout out to Shea. I think he had an MVP performance, especially going up against it's you and Jokic head for head for this award. And yes, the votes are already in, but this is one of those performances that kind of solidifies his case a little more. He had 35 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, a block. He was 12 for 19 from the field, and he had 0 turnovers. Like, he was doing it all, scoring, getting where he wanted. And this is with him resting a lot of the fourth quarter, too. So, like, imagine this is like a drag-out game. Like, who knows? Maybe he gets 40, 50. Like, you don't know. But he hooped, and that's all you can ask. Also, J-Dub, he's out of rough series, and he came out tonight, and he was very solid, scoring, defending, just providing his impact, being that secondary star that they need, being the all-star that he is, and good to see heading into this Western Conference Finals. But that's all I have on that series. As for the next 2 series, Pacers versus Knicks, I have so much faith in Jalen Brunson as a playoff performer, as being a clutch player, as a scorer. Like, I saw it against the Pistons. I saw it last year when everybody was hurt. Like, you can't stop him, and he has help. The Knicks are healthy. I just have a hard time betting. Like, they have the best player in the series. I think they have the second best player in the series. Like, they might even have, like, depending on how you view, like, Mikal Bridges, like, compared to, like, Miles Turner. Like, I don't know. They might have the third place, like, if you go down the line. But they definitely have the top 2 players in the series, in my opinion. And I think the Knicks get the series in 6. It's going to be like an onslaught. Like the Pacers, they run that 10-man deep rotation, and they're going to tire you out. And, the Knicks like to run 6 guys and play them all 48 minutes. Like, so it's going to be a test for sure. But I think if the Knicks are going to win the series, which I do, I think it has to be in 6. 5, like it has to be sooner rather than later, because if you let this series drag out, like I said, the Knicks like to run their rotations dry. Pacers have no problem reaching into their bench. They have so much depth, and I think that fatigue factor will play. Like if they were to go to Game 7, like you got to think, like all those minutes, especially over this long postseason, will start to add up, and I think you'll see those effects. But I have a hard time betting against Jalen Brunson, especially against, like, no offense, but he's the best player in this series. He is. I've seen too much his body of work, and I think he is gonna push the Knicks to a finals appearance after, and, like, I don't know how long it's been. I'm not a big Knicks fan, so I'm not even gonna try and guess, but that is my prediction on that series. And then as for the Wolves versus Thunder, I think this series goes to Game 7. Like, no matter what, these teams are just so talented. It's gonna be the offense, defense, both top 10. I know they're both top 10 defenses. I think the Wolves are like number 11 to finish the season in offense, so not a top 10 offense, but just insane. Insane. It's going to be an insane series. But if I had to pick, it's the same way I feel about, like, Jalen Brunson. I've seen Ant knock out so many of my generation's stars. I saw him beat Jokic last year, and I just I have a hard time picking against him this year. They've been hooping. Julius Randle's been hooping. Rudy Gobert has been hooping. Jaden McDaniels has been hooping. Like, I think they take it in 7. And I think we're going to end up with the Knicks Timberwolves finals, which would be insane. Just factoring that trade that happened this offseason just would be crazy for if both teams were to end up in the finals. But that's all I have for today. Thank you all so much for tuning into the Peer Review Podcast. Let me know your thoughts on those series. Do you think the Thunder make it all the way? Who wins the Eastern Conference Finals? Comment below, and please share the video with your friends and family, as well as follow on the new handle at CalebCD on X/Twitter, and on TikTok at Peer Review Podcast to stay up to date with my latest episodes and releases. But this is the Peer Review, signing off.